Stratum Space Project. Please welcome to the stage, Kill James Bond.
Hello, Stratum. Welcome to another live show of Kill James Bond. I am Alice Caldwell-Kelly, joined, as always, by my friends Abigail Thorne and Devon.
Hey.
They made another one of these movies.
It's day 2 of the Kill James Bond Russian sleep experiment. It's Austin Powers, the spy who shagged me.
What did we learn last night?
Nothing.
I remember Mike Myers is Canadian.
That's true.
Which
Yeah,
I
we
was
learned
surprised.
that.
I know. I learned this live on stage. I was like, what? You can't make fun of British people like this. I thought he was one of us.
Live Abigail Thorne reaction.
That was about it. I don't really remember anything else.
Well, the thing is, we had a problem with the first one, which is it's a half-decent comedy. Like, there are some jokes in it that land. Not a problem tonight. It's simply is not. Oh, I've been reminded that whenever you laugh, I have to stick the microphone out to you like...
This is hack.
We're all doing the Timothy Dalton laugh.
Yeah,
Oh, that's unnerving. A whole crowd of people doing the Timothy Dalton laugh.
I think we may have done this exact bit verbatim. I don't recall.
Again, every time we finish a podcast, someone hits me really hard on the head.
Yes,
and
me.
Just anything we said is gone.
Yeah. So this movie came out around the same time as the new Star Wars, which means it was required by law to begin with
that
a
explains a few
Star
things.
Wars opening crawl parody, explaining what we learned in the past movie. So it's a long sort of Star Wars crawl that just says Mike Myers is Canadian.
And that's it.
That's it. Then they do a kind of Bond-ish theme, and really, who would just parody something that kind of sounds a bit like a Bond theme?
I will say that the opening crawl narration is read by a guy I love to hear, Tony J, American voice actor who's been in all kinds of fucking like tiny little things like this. And I was like,
interesting.
I was Leonardo DiCaprio pointing, but with my ears. Like,
Both ears pointing fully forwards. But so what happened in the last one was Austin Powers got married. He went like steady. He gave up polyamory to marry Liz Hurley, which is one of the acceptable reasons to do that. And we pick up pretty much straight where we left off on their honeymoon. And first things first, you know how some of you who are here for the previous night might remember that I said that Mike Myers has a real problem with India specifically?
Oh, Christ.
It's gonna keep cropping up, believe me. The sort of like that you can graph the number of Indian jokes that he does per movie, leading to the apotheosis of this series, which is a movie called The Love Guru, which we'll get to.
No, we fucking won't get to.
Whoa!
Let's go ahead.
Tickets available now.
It's just for us. Yeah.
We're gonna come back here and do it live, but there's
Yeah.
gonna be an empty room.
Yes. Yeah. For like the purposes of containment, that's the only way you can talk about The Love Guru. You can't like infect other people with it, you know. The Love Guru is not over. You really think it's acceptable to hold a live show in the time of The Love Guru? But yeah, so the Indian joke in this one is that they're working their way through the Kama Sutra, complete with Austin Powers' face on the Kama Sutra cover in sort of, I guess as, I don't even know, in Indian garb, let's say. And it's not a great way to start, but...
Oh, don't worry.
It gets worse. So
That's the high point.
Yeah. So Austin and Liz Hurley are fucking, and something starts to go wrong with her. And at this point, my note says, Liz Hurley in lingerie shattering a champagne glass in one hand, and then effortlessly choking a man with the other. Hello.
Yeah, because she appears to like rewind like a robot might.
Sure.
And he's like, "You all right?" And she's holding a champagne glass, and she just like crushes it and goes, "Yeah, I'm fine."
It's so hot.
And it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, like we need to clean up the blood, but also,
Again, literally been there. But
We know.
some of you remember that story. So,
Singular story. Interesting.
well,
Like she's a robot. It turns out, right?
fembot, not just any
fembot.
robot, but a fembot.
I'm
And-
sorry, I didn't mean to misgender Liz
Yeah.
Turley brackets robot.
Because I'm sick of these narratives that women won't disclose that we're fembots before we have sex with you. Fembots are not trying to trap you. We're just trying to live our lives.
Oh,
you
a lot
know.
of fembots date other fembots.
That's true. It's true. That's what F for F is.
Not really bothered about dating Austin Powers. Like, but also there's this scene where like he deduces that she's a fembot by using the hotel's TV remote to like remote control her. And I'm like, okay, this is just like a male fantasy of having a remote control woman that you've kind of like snuck in there, isn't it?
That's right. And then the second half of the male fantasy, she tries to kill him. And you're like, okay, now we're getting somewhere.
How dare you call me male?
That's the one
Female-bodied
part.
robot. No.
That's the one part of like
I went
male
to a chop shop
socialization.
and got an old chick. I went to see a mechanic.
Yeah, but that's the one part of like male socialization that sticks is the fantasy of a woman trying to kill you, and this movie has that in spades. It's just very helpful. But yeah, so she like reveals a message from Dr. Evil that she's a kamikaze bride, right? She's been sent to assassinate him. And then explodes. She tries to come with the guns that come out of the tits from the last movie. It's neither here nor there. But she blows up. Mike Myers is sort of like as disheveled. I know.
We could spend like a good 10 to 15 minutes doing hack bits about, oh, she was a robot the whole time, but sent by Dr. Evil. What does that mean for all the previous stuff? But that would be awful.
Yes.
Like that would just be audio suicide for us to try that.
Yes, the thing is, I don't care.
It sucks.
Neither does the film. I do feel a bit bad that they've just gone, well, Liz Hurley, you can be in one scene. And then we need to reset the clock so that we can have another woman in this.
Maybe that was her idea. Maybe she was really keen on this. You don't know.
maybe
Maybe
she's
she was
like,
like,
"I'm done."
I will be in the second one at the cost of I get to try and kill him.
Yeah.
Like, sick of this fucker. I want the ability to try and kill him with my tits.
This movie is quite like Men in Black 2, and that it's just the first one again.
Yes. And also it's worse.
Like Men in Black 2.
Yeah, but so his wife gets blown up and he goes, oh, cool, I'm single again. Which is a joke that I like, that he's just like that much of a piece of shit. He's like, okay, cool, back to swinging. And we get our sort of like dance opening sequence where he like dances naked through a hotel, which is a series of like...
It's the same joke from the last one where like he's dancing naked, but then there's always an object that looks a bit like a penis obscuring his penis.
However, it does contain one shot where a naked Austin Powers stalks towards a baby's pram.
He does it. I spent...
Yeah.
In a way I would describe as U-tree-ish. Beloved cultural institution Austin Powers has been arrested on a subject of historical allegations.
To the surprise of absolutely no one.
No.
Like, it's one of the ones where they get caught out and everyone's like, yeah, obviously. Yeah. No one's in the paper like, my God, I never would have known. We're like, yes. Well, I mean, pedo John, obviously.
recurring character in the Kill James Bond cinematic universe, Peter John.
Also, in a funny little joke, the casino of the hotel is called the Casino Royale.
Nice.
Really funny.
That's the name of a James Bond movie.
That's the James Bond.
I just like to imagine this sequence where, yeah, exactly. We killed him. He's gone.
Yeah.
In memoriam.
Actually, I will say this movie kind of killed him, or this franchise, because, and I wasn't sure when to bring this in, Daniel Craig claimed that the thing that made them soft reboot the Bond franchise and make it all gritty and realistic was that they were terrified of getting made fun of by Austin Powers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we quake, don't we, when we think about the satirical power of Austin fucking
Someone
Powers.
did, and it was the Bond people. It was like Dan Jack LLC or whatever. They were fully like, no, okay, we're too much into self-parody with this Pierce Brosnan thing. We got to do something different. We got to do like gritty and realistic.
Albert Broccoli of the Broccoli family. Real broccoli, by the way. Like,
that's true.
I just want this blew my fucking mind when I found out about it. The producer of James Bond was Albert Broccoli, and he was not named after the fucking vegetable. The vegetable was named after his family.
Yeah,
They invented the broccoli. I'm not
confirmed real.
fucking-
This has been fact-checked by real British patriots.
Wait,
this is
for
true.
real? Is he from like planet Vegeta? Like what?
It's called Italy, for fuck's sake.
I'm pleased that there
Turning
are
the
people
big
in here who
dial
are
to
just
no. All right, let's do it, baby.
So, if you remember the Bob's Big Boy fucking missile from the first movie, it lays an egg into orbit, and I know. Look, if you missed the first night, you didn't miss much in the sense of the movie, right?
You missed an insane amount in terms of our bits, though. So if you weren't here yesterday, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not going to explain the concept of Bob's Big Boy to you. Not
It's
a
a
second
Canadian
time.
thing.
No,
If you weren't here yesterday and you won't be here tomorrow, I'm sorry you didn't get your first choice.
no. You ended up in the confusion zone. But the rocket sort of like lays an egg with a cryogenically frozen Dr. Evil inside. Dr. Evil is like a Blofeld type, like 5% more European.
They put it up to like 10% this movie.
Oh shit, they do. That's
yeah.
true because they reintroduce him with a segment of Jerry Springer, which was relevant at the time.
I do quite like this scene.
It was
like
fun.
one of the guards at NATO is like watching Jerry Springer on TV, and it's like, oh, we're reuniting like sons and dysfunctional fathers. And so Scott, who's Dr. Evil's son from the first one, is on there. And then as a surprise, Jerry brings out Dr. Evil, which I do. I do quite
really
enjoy.
good.
And also the theme of the episode is like, my father is evil and trying to take over the world. And then there's like a Nazi on the couch and like a Klansman on the couch.
I did write
quite,
Jerry
like,
Springer.
somebody
bit
thought
good.
about this.
I
yeah.
thought this was funny.
And like Dr. Evil ends up like one of the Klansmen like insults Scott and like I think calls him insufficiently evil, and Dr. Evil fights the Klansman, which I was like, he's evil, but he's not like that evil.
Yeah.
Like,
That's right.
I do also appreciate that Scott has gone from grunge to emo over the course of these two movies.
Scott's look at the end of this film is like
with the eyeliner and the lipstick.
yeah, I'm just like, congrats to her. Like, I'm going to be seeing. She looks great at the end of this. This joke goes on slightly too long, and also I think the
Story of the fucking movie.
Yeah, I think also the joke starts to drift because we start with like, oh, he's evil, but he's not that evil. He still has standards, and then we get into this is kind of just like poking fun at the kind of people who run Jerry Springer. It feels like a little bit sort of classist.
Yeah. Yeah. Jerry Springer, if
Again,
you're not aware, sort of
don't
the
worry.
American Jeremy Kyle. So yeah, imagine having Jeremy Kyle on a podcast.
I loved him on. Oh, damn it. We both went for the same fucking.
But this is the real Jerry Springer, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's one of like many quite real celebrity cameos in
Oh,
this,
this
and the
only
next film.
gets worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so now Austin escapes from the hotel, pursued by the police. And you get a fun visual gag, which is a British red phone box on the Pacific Coast Highway in California. And that really makes me miss The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Like, I just have Stockholm Syndrome now. I miss stuff that was like set in Southern California, had no budget because they couldn't drive very far from the studio. And we're just like, yeah, this is London, England. And clearly so does the movie. So we have some common ground there. But at this point, Basil Exposition, Austin's boss, shows up and goes, right, we've remembered you're supposed to be a fashion photographer. And no fashion photographer could be an evil man. So... So we're going to need you to be, not creepy towards two models, one of whom is there to kill you on behalf of Dr. Evil.
So we go to Austin's pad in London, which is conveniently located opposite a large Virgin Atlantic billboard.
Nice. How much did they chip in for that, you may ask? Probably not as much as you'd think.
And one of the models is girl I love to see,
Yeah.
Rebecca Romaine.
Actual model. The other is another girl I love
Actually,
to see.
Mystique
Yeah.
from the X-Men series.
Kristen Johnston, too.
Yeah, before Jennifer Lawrence played it, before I played it. Again, Rebecca
Yeah, we're
Romaine.
announcing that now. But
I
yeah,
wish.
So Kristen Johnston is playing sort of a Xenia Onatopp type. Ivana Humpalot, I think the name is. That's about the
That's
time
right.
that this movie takes. And the problem is that, politely, right, I say this with affection, I say this with great love in my heart. The Xenia Onatopp type is 1% clockier than Rebecca Romaine, who you're supposed to be like, damn, that's an actual model. If you weren't clocking in, you weren't working.
I I love the fact we've been asked. This makes you like 90% cuntier. Is every time you know you've got a good line, you go
I
like,
just do the.
like don't encourage us.
Is it meant to be like a Russian shot put women's team joke where we have Rebecca Romaine and then we cut to Ivana, and is she meant to be? Is she meant to be bricked up? Because I saw her and I was like, damn, she's hot as hell.
She's meant to be hot, but in like a Xenia Onatop way, where you're like, ooh, dang, clocky. Like,
wait, what?
He's using like a Mamiya, like it's like 6'4" here. He's shooting shots off. There's 15 in a roll on that fucking thing.
he does a good bit though, where he's like doing his like fashion photographer bit. He's like, I'm not even shooting. He's pointing the camera completely in like the opposite direction. Still works. It's like, that's cool. But so
I mean, you can set up remote so it goes off with it.
Yeah.
And then he keeps shooting. He's like, "Yeah, baby, I'm done," and hands it over. And I think that's quite funny. It's to just be like going from like 100 to nothing immediately. I think that is somewhat funny.
Now at this point, we have to go to Dr. Evil's headquarters, which is in Seattle, in a big Starbucks tower, because Starbucks is evil and ubiquitous, and that's a joke I assume has now also hopelessly dated. This is sort of like an audience approval meter, this microphone. I'm a bit tentative there. I'm like, huh? do you like this?
Are they gonna like, nah.
Please, I'm trying.
You're doing great. I'm just sat here. I keep forgetting I'm on stage. I'm just watching you.
It's
Like,
like,
yeah.
oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. You had to get in really early to reserve this seat specifically.
Really early. You have to be in a group chat in 2020.
Yeah. But so, once again, Dr. Evil's number two, has bought up Starbucks because Starbucks is more evil than just doing an evil plan. And okay, we like this joke. Fine, whatever.
I think it's good that number 2 is just like here still.
Yeah.
Like he's
Didn't
not
he try
dead.
and
He's
betray
just
Dr.
fine.
Evil in the last one? And
Yeah,
got
they
him
killed
in?
him.
dropped him in
They
the
killed him,
fucking
but then
fire.
they forgot that they killed him, so they just brought
They
him back with a bit of
knew
like,
he has
yeah.
like slight burns or one thing. They're like, don't worry about it. He's fine.
cancel
Whatever.
culture just isn't real. It just doesn't stick.
No, you can just come back if you're an evil villain.
But yes, we also reintroduce Frau Farbissina, who is the Rosa Klebb of these movies, except they're making explicit the thing that Rosa Klebb was not, which is that she's a lesbian. She says,
I have come to embrace the love that dare not speak its name.
which, okay, mood, right? But she's...
Yeah, it's great. I kind of like this. I also like that Dr. Evil is not homophobic because she says this and he just goes, right on.
Yeah,
like,
you get
cool,
a bit of
nice.
like a look off of number 2, and also her girlfriend is kind of like a homophobic
Yeah, so
joke.
Dr. Evil's not homophobic, but the movie is, because then she
Yes.
goes, this is my partner, and it's like a very butch woman named Unibrow.
With a unibrow. We met at the WPGA tour, and it's like, okay.
Yeah,
come
okay,
on.
we're making like homophobic jokes about lesbians.
I mean, like, yeah, also like this idea that, you know, any woman who's like evil and sadistic and German is like necessarily a lesbian. If you want to prove that to me, you can meet me after the show. I tried to do one of those meet me after the show jokes in each one of these. The third one is so dog shit I couldn't think of one. So you've got 2 nights to do this in. At this point, they announce that they've cloned Dr. Evil.
Fuck me.
Again.
Okay. We all know about Mini-Me.
I hope so. Yeah. This is Vern Troyer, right? A dude who was like 3 feet tall. Now dead. R.I.P. Rest in powers. And the role is they've cloned Dr. Evil, but it's gone wrong, and he's 1/8 the size. And this role is, I would say, controversial, problematic. You want to think of some more words for this?
Well, like, so he never speaks.
No.
They treat him like a dog. Literally,
Yes.
at some points in these series, they like put him on a lead. Like he behaves like a dog, and then he like snarls and like humps things. And,
Well, a
like,
dog or a baby. Those are the 2 things he is compared to, and he's compared to them constantly.
doll at one point they call him.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I think Vern Troy actually like really impressed Mike Myers with his audition, and they like worked together on this. So I don't want to say like this was definitely exploitation, because like almost like Hervé Villechaize, who insisted on certain things that we wouldn't normally do now. But yeah, I hope he was well paid.
No. I mean, I read one sort of Guardian article, which essentially cast this as like, no, this is
It's just full of transphobia, but anyway.
This was a few years old, so it was before they had got onto that, and when they were trying to be like on the right side of things, and they had like
They're on the right side of things now.
when they were trying to be on the left side of things, and they hired this writer who was like, no, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to our community, and yeah, all right, you know, I'm willing to take his word for it.
Yeah.
But yes, so we introduced Mini-Me and the plan, which this time we're going to do some time travel. We're going to go back to the 60s and we're going to steal the quintessence of Austin Powers, the thing that makes him Austin Powers. Thank you to the one person who was impressed that I knew the word quintessence.
It wasn't like a laugh, it was just like a...
Just like, that's how I do it all for, right? The one person who was impressed by someone knowing the word quintessence. It's his mojo, right? His like...
They're going to steal his tester gel. They're
Yes.
going to go back in
Yeah.
time. They're going to change the name on his Boots prescription so he can't get it anymore.
Yes, yeah.
Fucked up.
Gonna change it so his dick doesn't work right anymore. That's the plot of this movie. It really is, I promise.
I think the best thing you can do with a man out of time is put him back in time. Because what that takes is the essence of a character and is like, we're done with that.
So the plan is that Austin was frozen in 1967, so Dr. Evil will go back to 1969 when he's like frozen, so he won't be able to do anything to stop him, is the vibe.
Yeah. It's actually, it's kind of embracing the just shoot him thing, but like, you know, you get him while he's frozen into an ice cube. You don't kill him. You just like demasculinize him. You force feminize him.
One person wooing for forced feminization? Only one. Surprising.
Someone is hurrying home to write the Austin Powers forced femfic.
Wow, fuck. I hadn't even thought about Austin Powers fanfic, actually. I might take a look at like AO3 later.
I think so. We'll read the best of those or the worst of those we find
It
tomorrow.
was a phase. I was just practicing my writing.
Listen, buddy.
Slow burn coffee shop AU. That's where the Starbucks comes from. Fuck's sake. So we go, Dr. Evil and Mini-Me go back to 1969, and we meet young number 2, Rob Lowe again, a guy I see.
Mm-hmm.
A guy
Appearing in this film.
Yeah, a guy who was on The West Wing and some other things. I tell you what, though, he does a good Robert Wagner impression.
Yeah, he does. I really like his performance in this.
And the reason why is because he dated one of his daughters. I don't...
When we say that Hollywood is incestuous,
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah, but like dating someone specifically to like broaden your impressions is...
It's also such a weird, like,
no,
hey,
I'm not
baby,
really
I
that
do a
into
really
you.
good impersonation of your dad.
Yeah,
And then that's the setup to a punchline of you walking out of the room, which is
That's got some really dark
I could do
implications
that
to
bit, but I
it.
won't.
For her to be like, could you do the my dad voice tonight?
yeah. This whole thing, I can do a really great impression of like Becca's mum. That's lovely, lad.
But so Rob Lowe's...
Not on stage though.
I'm not running through everyone I've ever dated going, of all their parents, who could I impersonate? Which is a weird and novel thing to imagine.
Yeah, it's, how do
I
you
invite the audience
realize...
to take a moment and just...
How do you realize that you have that power to just like impersonate your girlfriend's dad? You just at dinner together and you just start talking like him? Like
I could impersonate my ex-fiance's dad by just like wearing a Misfits shirt. Like that was 80% of his personality.
Impersonating my partner's dad, but just been like, I don't approve of your transition.
Very disappointed, Abigail. Well,
think you thought this through?
there was a joke I was too mean to make there, which was impersonating my ex's dad by not showing up. Which is also the plot of the third movie.
Yeah, I have a bit based around that, but I want to do on the third one.
Yeah. So they set up the going to steal Austin Powers mojo thing. And at this point, we have to do one of those fucking interstitial cuts.
Yeah, right. Oh, good, they're back.
Those are back. The
It's
bits
a bit less jarring, but it's still fucked.
There's more of them. It's like it keeps cutting to Mike Myers' 60s themed novelty tribute band and some girls in body paint dancing. And you're like, oh, isn't this cool? And I'm like, no. Stop, please.
I got up to one of my university girlfriends in my head and realized I never met her dad. No, I was still in it. I was still in it.
I could tell you were still in it. I was looking over and you were Again, another visual joke for those listening at home.
So at this point, we have a seduction scene between Austin and Ivana Humpalot, where they play chess, and he plays chess as well as Napoleon Solo does.
The joke is that he doesn't know how to play chess at all, which is funny, or would be funny if it wasn't the same joke they did with blackjack in the first one.
Yes, although it did get one laugh out of me, which is when he like seductively puts a chess piece in his mouth. And I tried to imagine how a chess piece tastes. Much as you'd expect it to, I have to imagine. But yeah, but this is the thing, right? There are a lot of
Putting a chess piece in your mouth is like a weird crossover that this movie has with like Part 8 of JoJo. Like a really weird... It's strange, but fuck you! I see that you...
That's not funny.
Devon.
Now, because that's sonically unintelligible, what that is Desmond Llewellyn as Q saying, that's not funny, and then Alice flatly saying the word Devon, added on top about twice as loud. So,
yes, thank you for that.
Thank you, Tom.
The chess scene reminded me of the fact, this is unconnected, but it reminded me of the fact that I have recently been banned from the chess.com app for trying to make my screen name Mate Me Mommy.
I have come to embrace the love that dare not speak its name.
Maybe only one needs.
I keep getting banned from apps. The reason I've been reduced to chess.com is because I've been banned from OkCupid and Field for impersonating Abigail Thorne.
What are you trying to meet women on chess.com?
I'm looking for queens.
Thank you. We're here tomorrow night.
That was gorgeous, yeah. I'm very taken by the idea of you like logging into chess.com and being like, how do I play heel slut?
I'm putting the spray and like doing the crouching emote in front. A couple of people found that one very funny.
But so they have a seduction scene, right? And they have a lot of shots of Kristen Johnson in her lingerie, and it's trying to have it both ways, right? It's trying to make fun of Bond for being like horny and ridiculous, but it's also just like being that. Like it's just trying to titillate you and be like, oh, tits. And like not really. Like it's a bit uncomfortable for me, I found.
She says, oh, I'm an assassin. I was sent to kill you, but you make me so horny. I want to fuck you. And I've written, like Fidel Castro.
I think we all had that joke down.
Yep.
Yeah, he Fidel Castro, so 100%.
Mm-hmm. Or tries to.
Yes.
We cut away from that because now it's time.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
God.
yeah, this was my only note was in full caps.
Mm-hmm.
So, also, just a previous note. Having someone reply yes to the like, do I make you horny, baby bit just collapses it. Like, it's not fun. Like, the irony's gone at that point.
Do I have that? I have a drop here that's just horny.wav, but I'm not sure what it is.
Let's find out.
Do I make you horny, baby?
Yes.
Nicely done. Well done.
Nice.
It's not funny.
No, but what? You know what else isn't funny? What if a guy was fat, right?
Well, let me stop you right there. Now, you might think that that's the funniest thing in the world. But check this out. What if he was also Scottish?
Fat bastard.
So, fat bastard.
Bastard.
This is a Canadian aggression against the peoples of Scotland. First Minister Yousaf, please institute sanctions immediately. Targeted airstrikes. I think it's necessary to do a targeted, moderate regime change in Canada just in order to prevent these kinds of breaches of international norms, because every Canadian thinks they can do a Scottish accent. Because
Mike Myers really thinks he can do a
yes,
Scottish accent.
yeah, and he can't. He just fully cannot. And I don't know. I'm not sure if it's because of like historical Scottish immigration to Canada, but it's embedded in their culture now. And we have to get over there with tanks and an air force and rip it back out. Because if these are the consequences, you know, this aggression cannot stand, man.
So you may remember Dr. Evil's chief henchman in the last film was Random Task, who was an Odd Job parody. The actor playing Random Task
Like a couple of
was
hitters
sentenced to 30 years in prison for crimes we spoke about last night between, I think, did that happen between these two movies?
Yes.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
so Dr. Evil now has a new henchman, which thank God is not Mike Myers looking like a Korean man. But instead is Mike Myers again. A third Mike Myers has struck the movie, dressed in an enormous fat suit and like ginger hair and eyebrows.
Drooling on himself most of the time.
Yeah,
sort of very,
horrific.
very repulsive physically.
Yeah, this is fat bastard, and he's the new
He's
henchman.
meant to be like a Scottish soldier, I guess. And he like incapacitates the guards, drills into the ice
How
cube.
does he incapacitate the gods? Alex?
Oh, with the drugged bagpipes.
With
With the
pipes.
drugged bagpipes.
Yeah, he just starts playing the bagpipes and like some gas comes out.
Boys,
Yeah,
a
like
man
Road
from
to the
Uncle
Isles
Gas
or something. Yeah,
And you know, I love to see a gas.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
we
of
love
course.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
big fans of gas here.
of course. But this one, no, it's not appropriate.
This one's a racist gas. And it's fatphobic as well, which is also exceedingly bad, just in case we didn't make
That's
that
true,
very
yeah.
clear. It's not funny.
Yeah. So Fat Bastard steals Austin's mojo, and as he is about to have sex with Ivana Humpalot, he finds that he cannot perform. He has erectile dysfunction because they've taken his mojo, and he makes a noise. And this is
I hate it when you say the phrase when we're talking about it.
It's the equivalent of like Liam giving the date on Well There's a Problem.
you've
like,
never you've never recovered from the time in Casino Royale where I went. He makes a noise like.
When he hits the ground.
I never recovered from the homophobic noise in Diamonds
Oh,
Are the,
yeah, of
are the
course.
Moon of the Pussy of the whatever the fuck
Well,
that was.
this noise isn't homophobic, but it's very strange, and I'm just going to put the mic up to the crowd preemptively.
No, he doesn't make that noise at that moment. He makes that noise during the chess scene because this is genuinely funny to me. This is the one like solid laugh at God. It's because one of the shots in the chess is just Mike Myers, no expression on his face, going, oh, and then it cuts away from it. Like that was the entire length of the shot.
Yeah,
And you're like, okay.
we need one shot, and it's for.
So they steal his mojo. They kind of, it's like goo. They take it out of him with a syringe in the past.
Yes.
And then that changes the future so that he can't have sex anymore. And so Basil Exposition's like, okay, we're going to send you back to 1969 in a car, which we'll get to in a moment. When they do this, he's still wearing his outlandish Austin Powers clothes. And I think they kind of missed a trick. It would have been funnier if after they stole his mojo in the past, he just became normal.
He was just wearing like a normal suit.
And he spent most of the rest of the movie is just like quite a normal man. That would have been much better, actually.
Yeah.
But they didn't have you to like script doctor this movie. So yeah, they don't do that. Instead, what they do is they go to a hangar where the time machine is parked. And the time machine is a new VW Beetle marked up in like hippie colors. And man, you remember the new Beetle? Like the cynical cash grab disguised as the symbol of a new generation of like youth and optimism to hide the fact that the boomers were not just pulling up the ladder after them, but actively destroying the entire fucking planet? That car? Yeah, time travel is fucking right. That entire generation's politics have been a fantasy of going back to the 60s. And they tried to force us all into it, and we're all going to drown in boiling seawater.
Big cheer for boiling seawater.
Yeah, it's
Fans
into
of
light.
liquids on this podcast as well, actually.
It's sorry, it's sometimes I realize what the next 20 years are going to look like, and I just think like...
Mike, we need you back on stage. We need to do some more pickups. We gotta
Yeah, how many takes of that did they do?
How many reshoots? How many months of
They
reshoots?
brought him back in. It was like weeks later. they were like, we
CGIing the
need another-
mustache off because he was doing another thing.
But so, as I'm thinking about coastal ice shelves and stuff, Basil owns me by looking straight down the camera and going,
I suggest you don't worry about this sort of thing and just enjoy yourself. That goes for you all, too.
podcast defeated. We're fucked. It's over. As soon as you're like, you just don't worry about it. It's a movie. With the whole thing,
It's
the
like,
whole
oh.
edifice falls apart.
I refuse. I refuse.
Obviously this film sucks and is shit, but it's funnier if we treat it like it's a movie that has something to say, like it was made as like an auteur piece by fucking
First
Mike
one,
Myers.
kind of tried to at the very end.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
To be
true.
like, yeah, in the 90s, man. And
Well,
this
I mean,
one's
this-
just like,
a
it's
very
Austin Powers
gruesome
2,
That's what I'm
man.
going to say. It says, do you remember Austin Powers 1?
Yeah.
How about a bit more money for me? And the third one, you better fucking believe.
The third one tries to say something, and it's worse.
It's so...
I preferred it when he wasn't trying. Anyway.
Yeah, this was a couple of years apart. Watching them back to back to back, worst possible experience you can have.
yeah.
A horrible thing to
Watching
do
them.
to yourself.
General.
Well, that too. But like, if you give yourself a couple of years in between, you'll have forgotten enough of the jokes that you won't be like, that's the exact same joke, and you are robbing me.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, in many ways, we remember it, so you don't have to.
That's not funny.
Devon.
You people in the audience too young to get that reference. All right.
Fuck.
But so Austin goes back to the 60s. There's a little bit about how he can't drive the car well because he's lost his mojo, which is fun.
But Alice, what kind of beer is he drinking?
He's drinking a Heineken.
Oh, okay,
a
cool. I was
delicious
worried.
Heineken that you can purchase at any bar.
This is made very much funnier by the fact that I think, is it Skyfall has a lot of very prominent
Yes.
Heineken mixes.
Yes.
So in trying to avoid Austin Powers, they've done the same thing.
And where did it bring you? Back to me. The true power brokers of this world, Heineken. But so there's a rave, there's a party going on at Austin's pad in the 60s.
Again, like he can still dance and he can still party. They missed an opportunity to have him like not be able to dance.
His teeth are bad again.
Yeah.
Because that's not a function of his mojo. Like his teeth were always bad. In fact, they kind of like were a bit cowardly about this by giving him better teeth at the start of this movie. They're
I
like,
thought this was because he went back in time.
yeah, but like he just has
worry about
the bad teeth from the first movie that he had the whole way through.
I suggest you don't worry about this sort of thing and
Podcast defeated.
I don't like that I'm just being bullied on like both sides here.
Yeah, it's like a bullet. We're just like pushing you back and forth, just like fucking.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do. Wow, very perceived there.
Polyamory is when you're bullied by both of your co-hosts.
That's
And
right.
bisexuality is when we're different genders.
Yeah. But so he meets this girl, Robin Swallows, which sets you up for a "my maiden name is Spitz" joke.
To be fair, right, okay. I'm going to do something I hate doing and defend
God.
this very
Oh
slightly.
God. Okay.
In that she teased him up too hard. And you can see that it like affects him because she's like, my name was Robin Swallows. Maiden name Spitz. And he goes, well, what is it, baby? Spitz or Swallows? And then just like sits there for a bit and goes, He's like,
I choose to believe they left that in. And that is just
He
him
was
being
like,
like, that's not my best.
yeah.
that's the take.
Yeah. All the best lines are the ones where you can hear him like cringe internally afterwards.
Yeah, it's really good.
Where he's like, "Spitz or Swallows, baby."
Again, it would have been funnier if she teed him up for that. And because he doesn't have his mojo, he's just like, nice
Okay.
to meet you.
Yeah.
Austin.
But at this point, we have to introduce another character. A character who is blonde and American. A character who is wearing a miniskirt. A character who is wearing a day collar with a female symbol on it that serves. Frankly, it serves cunt. I
And
want
she's
one.
here tonight. In my dreams. Also, later on, she arrives on a scene in a big convertible that's patterned to look like the American flag. And my notes just say in caps, "Yes, please." This
they
would
really
work
do.
on me.
They really do.
This is all I've ever wanted.
This is Felicity.
She arrives to the song "American Woman" as well, just to nail it home.
This is just for you. This is your
had
moment.
to go to
Yeah.
Abby's house while she was watching this.
Yeah, your Apple Watch is like, we've detected an elevated heart rate. Are you okay? And you're like, no.
Just like all of a sudden, she looked like the person in like the IMAX advert. She was like,
So this woman warns Austin that Robin Swallow's maiden name Spitz works for Dr. Evil and it's a trap. And he does the thing that's like a straight lift from, I don't remember which Bond movie.
it's from... No, it's Thunderball. It's Domino. Not Domino. Is it Domino? No,
he
the other
sees the
broad.
reflection in the eyes.
Volpe,
Yeah.
Volpe.
Yeah, he
Ball
sees the reflection of the
Oh,
assassin.
the reflection in the eye shit is from You Only
That's
Live Twice
that's
right at the start
Goldfinger.
of that. No,
This is great content.
it's You Only Live Twice.
You're
Unless
loving
it isn't.
this.
It's
you
not
are
You Only
loving
Live
this.
Twice. Hold on. Wait a minute.
He
Do
does
you
This could
wanna
be
go
edited out
back-
later
Do you want
on.
to go
Hold
in
on.
the back and get your phone and check? Like,
He does the thing that James Bond does in Moon Pussy, where he sees the reflection in her eyes of like an assassin with a throwing knife,
Yeah.
and then they're dancing, and then he turns her around and she takes it. But then, and I do quite like this, they keep doing that. So he
That's
then like
funny.
throws her body away and like is fighting the assassin. The assassin pulls a gun. He picks her up again and like puts her in front, and then like the guy has a bigger gun, and they keep doing
It's
it.
a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
I kind of have mixed feelings about this because the persistent joke is funny, but on the other hand, it makes this uncomfortably violent.
Yeah, like the makeup and the special effects of her being shot are like too good.
Yeah, it's just like it's like that bit in Seinfeld where Jerry Seinfeld got shot a bunch of times, where it's like, no, you got the like.
Yeah, remember the bit.
Spoilers for the final episode of Seinfeld.
Spoilers for the final episode of Mood.
When Jerry
kill Milo.
Seinfeld, when Jerry Seinfeld commits suicide by cop. No, they got like
Actually, the final episode of Seinfeld takes place on 9/11. And Seinfeld is like
cuts to
looking
credits
out of the
and there's
window,
the-
and he's just
Yeah.
like, "What's the deal with airline?"
Folks.
Yeah, but no,
look it up later.
I don't really like this bit. But the thing is, in the original script, it was going to go on longer. He was going to like put her in the car, and when the next guy shoots at them, he was going to like haul her dead ass corpse up as a human shield. I think that's funnier. But the movie has like, it's lost its self-confidence, much like Austin Powers. Where the last movie would have been, here's the same joke 5 times. This one's like, here's the same joke 3 times. Do you like it? Are you offended? I'm sorry. Please,
It's gone well.
please don't leave. It's like, I don't know. It's
Also,
troubling.
it's the same joke that brown-faced Will Ferrell did in the first one, and is
Yeah,
about
and
to do again.
Yes.
Yeah, fuck
It's not his character's name, but should have been.
Totally unrelated, not played by Will Ferrell. He's just named.
Not even in brownface either. Just
But so in sort of like a précis of my problem with this movie, they do the joke about the red phone box on like the California highway again, where they drive past like a sign that says English countryside, but then they acknowledge it in the text of the movie. I fucking have the drop here somewhere. Oh God. Oh God.
I don't know if you do.
I don't think
No,
you
I
do.
don't.
Doesn't
Fuck.
look like it.
Shit. All right. Fine. Well, I guess I'll just give you the baffling line from the photo shoot where he says,
Make an interconnected series of tunnels like the Viet Cong.
which
I was wondering what Powers _ Viet Cong was.
given that this is 1969, that's alarmingly too soon. Like
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
the Viet Cong, by the way, who Austin Powers may well have supported.
Finally, those capitalist pigs will pay for their crimes, eh? Hey, comrades?
Yeah, Austin Powers was in Vietnam on the North Vietnamese side.
Looking like that. And the Viet Cong are all like, what the fuck is this guy doing here? This guy makes us look bad.
Yeah. But yeah, he goes like the English countryside looks remarkably like Southern California, and it's like this is MCU writing. This is the they fly now thing, and I fucking hate it in this one too. It's like it's a lack of self-confidence in your own bits, which again it's like the themes of the movie, you know.
The MCU is a good series of movies.
Yeah.
I think they make good content.
Like I was looking directly at you when I was talking about the MCU. It was like
Disney made great content, and
that's
like
true.
I think they're a
Disney
great,
made content.
great company that get a Disney Plus subscription.
and more.
Maybe I don't know.
we love the mouse here
Yeah.
with all our hearts. So
We
Will
finally
Ferrell,
sold out.
Will Ferrell brownface.
Yeah.
If you remember the first movie or you were here for the first night, there's a character called Mustafa. Now, Mustafa is sort of the archetype that you find in 60s spy movies where it's like a North African guy in a fez with sunglasses, right? But because Mike Myers is friends with Will Ferrell, they cast Will Ferrell in brownface. Like, they fully did. And a couple of years later, they were like, hey, remember when we did that and got no pushback because, there were no politics along these lines yet and no one could cancel us?
When was the Mighty Boosh doing blackface? That was like 2000 and was it the noughties, wasn't it? They were still doing blackface
Definitely
then.
the noughties, yeah. I mean, they were still doing it in Australia up until like 2010, I think.
Jesus. But yeah, so
Hey, it's Saturday.
they just decide, hey, let's bring it back. Let's put Will Ferrell in the brownface makeup and bring him on for the next scene, which they do.
And he makes karate noises.
He does. They play some like
That's right.
Arabish music. He has a cookery,
Yeah.
which is like a beautiful melding pot of martial arts styles.
Just a whole fucking series of things that have no relation to each
Yeah,
other.
all
that
of
this
the
character
fezzes
has.
that sell very well in Nepal. And yeah, they do a bit which I only realized was racist last night, where they capture him at gunpoint and they go, who do you work for? And he says, I'm not going to tell you. Who do you work for? I'm not going to tell you. Who do you work for? When I'm asked the same question 3 times, I have to answer you. And I'm like, that's just the bit about like, oh, it's good hospitality to like turn something down 3 times in reverse, isn't it? That's just, you're just being racist. Okay, I see. I thought you were being absurd.
Weird, like orthogonal race.
Yeah,
like what kind of
like-
like weird 5D chess racism
Yes.
for a series that has been like quite on the nose with the racism thus far. It's kind of weird to be like, oh, they've never
Just
detected this one.
sliding, like when you're watching like a kids movie and it has like a few jokes for the adults. They've got all the like normal racism, but just for the real racism heads, there's like a few. The kids aren't gonna get it, but
a little
it's
Easter
racist.
egg.
It's like one old dude in a tweed jacket and the audience like, yo!
Whoa! He's doing the point, but he's got all fingers out.
Nice, very good, very good.
So they then repeat another joke, which is in the first movie they kill Mustafa and he like survives for way too long and is like, I'm in horrible pain. Please help me. They just do that again.
Yeah, because Frau Farbissina and Mini-Me come by and they kill him before he can reveal
Yeah.
any useful information.
And you get some more Will Ferrell bits, which is like, I'm in pain, which is like, no, fine.
I mean, I like to hear it.
Uh-huh.
Just Will
And
Ferrell
then
screaming.
we go
in
to the
agony.
evil lair, and
Fat
Fat
bastard.
Bastard arrives. My notes say he needs to shit. That's the joke.
Oh, don't worry.
This is a
That's
movie.
most of the joke.
This is a movie that is obsessed with shitting. Like,
Yes.
in that respect, it's obsessed with fucking toilets.
I'm English.
And it,
Yeah, you know what? He did his research well for a Canadian.
Yeah. That's why I was fooled.
yeah. It finds turds very funny. And so Fat Bastard, he has to shit, but he delivers the mojo, and you get the juxtaposition of 2 hysterical jokes. What if a guy was fat and what if a guy was short? And you're like, yeah, what if that? And the movie expects you to be rolling in your seat at this point. It is
really
so
does.
pleased.
That's
It's
luxurious. Bad on like 2 axes.
Yeah. It like luxurious. It feels like you're watching like an episode of Friends without the laugh track, because it's like they just do the joke and then there's just like a long pause where they're like, we'll just wait for the audience to finish laughing at that joke.
Yeah, you need an audience laughing to complete the thing. Imagine this show without a laugh
imagine it
track.
with a laugh.
We'd be fucked. If you just decided like stone cold to like just stonewall us, nothing. Oh, I
won't
don't know what I'd
encourage
do.
them to
No,
unionize.
no.
Don't give them any
James Bond.
ideas.
James Bond in front of a live studio audience.
What rating was the first Austin Powers film?
Oh god, we go like a 28.
No. What rating? Like MPAA? Like
I don't remember that kind of shit. I remember the facts that matter, which is
It was a
gave it
15.
28.
It was a 15.
because I remember when I was a kid, I remember like a lot of people in the playground like quoting Austin Powers. I think it had a big like fan base of people who were officially too young to see it, but
Yes.
I think it was quite popular with children, and I think this second one gets noticeably like more puerile, and I think the third one really leans into the fact that we've got like kids in high school who really love this like series. So I wonder if maybe like the recurring like turd jokes is a sign that they're aware that the series has so many followers among my bullies.
Yeah, maybe so. But so he delivers the mojo, and Dr. Evil drinks some, which makes him sexier. And Mike Myers gets to act like another Mike Myers character, while a third Mike Myers character
this fucking
is on
like
the scene.
strikes, because obviously this predates Shrek, right? And he's doing the Shrek voice because he just is doing like a bad Scottish accent. And at one point he goes, "I ate a donkey," and hearing him say donkey, just like, it's like, oh fuck, like dealt me a point of damage, man.
I feel like the sexy Dr. Evil having drunk the mojo again would have been funnier had Austin just been normal. Yeah, and then now he becomes like that would have been good.
Yeah. Instead, what we get is he seduces Frau Farbissina, a woman we have previously established to be a lesbian, because of you can do that if you're sexy enough. You can make lesbians be attracted
Just doing
to men.
Doing the Bond bit from the 60s again.
Yes.
At least she consents to this.
50
She
years
does.
later.
She enthusiastically, you
Yes,
know?
yeah.
I mean, the joke here is kind of like older women having sex or being sexual is funny.
Yeah.
Because older women can't be sexy. If anyone wants to disprove that with me, you can meet me
And like this
after
is
the show.
this is Frau Farbissina in the past, and I think they would. It would have been.
Time noncing.
It would have been. I wish they'd made more of the joke that like Dr. Evil doesn't know whether or not to tell her she's a lesbian, because in like present day 1999 she knows she's a lesbian, and I think it would have been funnier if it's like doing like a when I tell you, like he can't tell her that she's gay. That would have been like a legitimately funny and touching joke.
Yeah.
Somewhat. I mean, she goes, I'll never love another man. And he goes, and it's like, it could have,
Yeah. So
there's nuggets of an okay joke somewhere in this movie. There's like 10 minutes of it.
We do get some more
best.
casual homophobia in the next scene, because Austin and the American blonde, who, by the way, her name is Felicity Shagwell.
shag well by name, shag very well by nature, baby.
Indeed, yeah. So they go out, they have a nice day in London because we're doing the same thing from the first one, and they like try to distract a guard at Buckingham Palace, and like Felicity kisses him and he doesn't react, and then Austin kisses him and he's like, oh, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
But again, same joke from the first one.
They do sort of a Hard Day's Night joke where he's in lingerie as well, and it's like, whatever. The other thing to note about Felicity Shagwell, right, is Austin has like met his match because she responds to,
Do I make you horny, baby?
so much harder than he says it. This is the woman who has wanted to fuck most since the girl playing in the movie Planes 2.
You weren't on an episode.
She wants it so bad.
That was a double dragon, I think.
She will fully just be like, he'll try and do an
wants it
Austin
so
Powers bit, and she'll be like, cock, please, cock, wham,
She's like,
wham.
I think this is one of the jokes that's almost funny, is Austin Powers desperately trying not to shag someone.
Yes.
Because he's like, he can't get it up because his mojo's been nicked. So she's like so horny, and he's like, she's a professional, she's an agent, she's not gonna. He walks out, she's in lingerie, and he's like,
Yeah, Austin walks out of his bathroom and there's like a blonde American woman in lingerie in his bed, and I'm just like, you son of a bitch.
But he's forgotten his tea jowl, so what
I
can
really
we do?
don't care if something good happened to you. It should have happened to me instead.
So at this point, we get this montage. Burt Bacharach shows up again. I still
He's
don't
back.
know or care who Burt Bacharach is.
He's not alone this time.
No.
They got Elvis Costello there as
Elvis
well.
Costello looking visibly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He's looking like he's like just seen a
Elvis Costello.
Elvis.
All right, whatever.
Elvis Costello looks
He was
like
on
he's just
I
seen
wasn't
us.
born when this movie came out.
No.
All right.
Elvis Costello looks like he's just seen a racehorse be put down.
So specific.
He's like
You've
he's
never
like
seen a
he's
racehorse be
suddenly
put down.
aware that this is a cold, hard, cruel world, and then he's been pushed onto a set with.
Do I make you horny, baby?
I mean, when you see a racehorse get put down, that really that supersedes any other idiom you might have in your mind.
Yeah. Oh God, what happens next? Here's some more office comedy because Dr. Evil and Frau Farbissina have fucked. It's awkward.
Yeah, this film has realized that Dr. Evil is funnier than Austin Powers, and
Yes.
therefore most of this film is just bits with Dr. Evil, like at home with Dr. Evil.
Mm-hmm. He has a chair that doesn't quite work.
Yeah, Scott comes back from the future, and then Mini-Me is there, and Scott calls him a chihuahua. Calls him a dog.
A vicious little chihuahua thing, which is, yeah.
Yeah, you better believe Seth Green's in this movie as well.
It was
The dynamic is that
It was a
like
different
Mini-Me
time.
has
You could let
replaced Scott in Dr. Evil's
Yes,
affections
yeah.
and has like replaced him as his son. Right, whatever.
At which point, Felicity really does try and fuck Austin. She like asks him for a massage.
We get the funny joke.
Yes, the one funny joke, which is he's massaging her back, and she's like lower, and he does his same line, but like in a lower voice. It's good.
I'm not going to do it. I did it last night. If you weren't here, you missed it. No, I'm not your performing monkey. No.
I don't want to tell you, but we're on stage in front of them right now. I hate to be the one.
yeah.
We're literally at this moment.
Yeah. These people pay our rent, I'm afraid.
Yeah, to be fair, you're right about that.
Let's go! All three of my rents.
Daddy's back.
Oh no! Calling up my ex-girlfriend and doing an impression of her dad just to.
Well, in many ways, the big boy never left.
If you laugh too hard, you will be taken out back and shot
That's
at.
right. That's right.
Just to be
Like a racehorse. Elvis Costello's gonna be there. You're gonna be like,
He's
"Who?"
here tonight.
It's genuinely hard to do that in this shapewear because it keeps my diaphragm up quite high.
Oh, this belt is holding on for dear life.
Yeah, it's quite hard. Huh?
But so, yeah, she wants him to fuck, and he's like, no, I can't. And also refuses to explain.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been easier if you just talked to your partners, Austin. But all right.
Yeah.
My note just says you could feasibly explain this.
Yeah.
There are perhaps other ways of having sex than just in, PIV, Maybe. Just a thought. But, not for Austin Powers.
Shout out to the audience member. I won't point to you and show me, but shout out to the audience member in the front row who just went.
It's like,
That's
so
right,
true,
baby.
bestie. You could eat her out. Yes.
There are other ways of having sex.
reference to this at the start when Vanessa turns out to be a femboy.
Yeah.
Where they're like, can you...
Yeah. And he's like,
That
why
was a genuine Freudian slip.
And she's like... And she's like, why didn't I notice that before? And she said, well, you could have tried foreplay.
Yeah.
Play with the balls a
does
bit.
it like, yeah, fair enough.
But so she tries to fuck him, and he's like, no. And it's like history. It doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. Now that she doesn't have sex with someone who doesn't want to, she gets reverse consolation pussy. In the same way that Austin did in the first movie, except this time it's Basil calling her up and going, you need to do some spy cop shit on the fattest man in the world.
That's right.
It's real bad, folks. And here's the thing. The previous scene, you can pinpoint the date 90s feminism embraced the idea of women being horny to between the first two of these movies. Like, first one of these movies, it's like, women these days too modern, don't even like sex. Now it's like women like sex too much. I'm scared. It's if you've
We bit off more we could chew here, boys.
no, we fucked up badly. Yeah,
We
if
don't
you
have the facilities for that.
if you've read a now very dated feminist book called Female Chauvinist Pigs, this is the kind of like lads mag feminism, quasi feminism that Felicity sort of occupies the space of. It's like shagging women can do it too now.
Men of the 90s been like, I wish like women were more horny than me, Batman voice, like,
Then you're gonna love me.
But so, no, what we get instead is like a genuinely repulsive scene, right? Which is Felicity has to have sex with Fat Bastard in order to plant a listening device on him, which she puts in his asshole.
and of course, like he's eating in bed and his whole bed is surrounded by food. And
and again, like, there are sort of two approaches I can take to this. One is the quite serious thing where I'm like, no, this is legitimately repulsive. The other, which is like, yeah, the joke here is, what if a beautiful woman had sex with a repulsive fat person? If you'd like to find out, meet me after the show.
I'm going to meet you out back with Elvis Costello. Fucking shoot.
You cannot stop me from making self-deprecating jokes. It makes us a lot of money.
That's true. I've been trying to stop you for about 2 years at this point.
Yay, capitalism.
But so she puts the fucking listening device up his ass, and he's like, ooh, frisky. It's terrible.
I gotta be honest, like anywhere else, the listening device would be good, like in his clothes. I don't know.
He's got like fat folds. Like that's legitimately a thing because it's the giant fat suit. But no, it's got to be up the ass.
They increased the budget on this, and they spent half of the budget on like thick glycerin to just like coat Fat Bastard in, and the other half of the budget on the most efficient use of budget in the world, which is early 2000 CGI.
Ooh, buddy, that's true, isn't it?
It costs an arm and a leg, and it looks like shit.
It's a volcano base in the shape of Dr. Evil's head. Looks terrible. Looks like it's from an FMV game.
Yeah. But Dr. Evil's plan is he's going to put a laser cannon on the moon to destroy Washington, D.C. My notes say there is a recurring shush joke. It's not funny.
Yeah, they do this about 50 fucking times.
And then, crucially, none of this is funny.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
One thing that I think is funny is the joke that the laser is taken from a Cambridge physicist called Dr. Parsons. So he calls it the Alan Parsons Project, right? Which is a...
It's funny.
I can explain this to you because the movie does too. Because again, it doesn't have the confidence of its own bits, and so he goes, allow me to demonstrate the awesome lethality of the Alan Parsons Project, which is a funny line if you get it. If you don't, you just gloss over it. That's what a comedy is. And then Scott goes,
the Alan Parsons Project is a progressive rock band in 1982.
But you don't...
Looking directly at the camera, by the way. That was funny.
Yeah, you don't go back and laugh at it now you know that. You're just like, okay, thanks, cool. And that's why they do the same punchline 50 times, is because they do punchline, explain the punchline, 5 times more of the punchline, so you'll laugh at it this time. And it doesn't work. It's not structured well as a comedy, and that's my objection to it, aside from all of the ways in which it's horrible.
And then Austin does just explain to Felicity, is like, I can't have sex with you because I've lost my mojo. And she's like, oh, okay, cool, no worries.
Yeah, again,
she's
so
like really
so you
cool
could've.
about this.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
and she tries to tell him, by the way, I shagged Fat Bastard, but then they get cut off. And then
by the turd alarm, which is going to track down the turds.
Yeah, this is the poo bit.
Where they find the tracking device, which he has shit back out into a toilet, and they like retrieve this turd for the lab, which is not even as funny as I'm making it sound. Like,
goes on too long, this bit as well.
The other thing is, like, okay, we're all agreeing this movie is bad. I don't appreciate doing a bit to an audience and hearing from the audience. Because, like, I know it's bad, right?
It's such a multifaceted job. You've used that in like 8 different emotions.
Because I don't remember what any of the other ones do.
Well, press them. Let's find out. Like, what's up?
The thought of you naked is just gross.
I'm always being told
I know why you would have fucking used it.
No,
I'm
you're
glad you
not.
didn't use that. No, you fucking are.
You are.
You stone cold smoke show. You don't get to make these jokes.
Just really be...
Do I make you horny, man?
It's like cultural appropriation for you to make these jokes.
So they find the turds. They take the turds and they put them in like a beaker in a lab. And you know as soon as you see it that the bit is going to be Austin Powers is going to drink some shit. And
Gross out humor, baby.
They tease you with this one for a good 5 minutes, and then he just does it, and that's the joke. It's not.
It would have been funnier if he didn't.
That's true. Yeah. This is.
And then they didn't comment other than, "Oh, thank God, I didn't drink it." If he was just like, and I was like, "No, Austin." He's like, "It's coffee. I'm not an idiot."
Because the thing about humor is that it's about meeting expectations. First day of comedy school, lesson 1.
Set up an expectation, and then, baby, you want to meet that bad boy. You want to take a few minutes to get there as well, really cement the expectation, and then just do it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm writing a better movie in my head. This would have been funnier if he had lost his mojo, was a normal dude, and people were trying to set up bits for him to do.
Mm-hmm.
So try and do something funny, Austin. He's just like, "Oh, I nearly drank that turd. I'm just going to drink this coffee normally instead, like a normal person."
So the plot point of this is that they've identified in the turds a vegetable that's only found on the volcano island, so they know where the base is, right?
This movie is just skits. It's just sketches.
Yes.
It's a series of sketches, and you can tell the ones they inserted to create a plot because nothing funny happens. A scene will open with an idea for what they want the scene to be, and then occasionally a scene will open and be Basil fucking exposition, be like, "All right, Austin, here's what we need to do next to set up the next bit," and he goes, "All right," and then and then it cuts to Dr. Evil doing a song and dance twice.
Yes, it really does because
really
it likes
does.
Dr. Evil more.
It likes Dr. Evil so much more.
They do the $1 million bit again where he tries to blackmail the president. He's like $100 billion, but it's
President, who is Tim Robbins?
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't remember when he was elected after Kennedy got killed?
Oh, yeah. But award-winning actor, the Shawshank Redemption, Tim Robbins. He's just
that
in
guy.
this film.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, they do the blackmail joke again.
They
It
call
fucking
Mini-Me an
sucks.
Oompa Loompa.
This is beginning to feel like the Russian sleep experiment. I'm just on stage oh god.
And then the thing is, it doesn't work.
No.
He's from the 60s. It doesn't work for him to be making out-of-time jokes from the future to a guy from the 60s. You're from the 60s, cunt. You do a fucking joke 2 scenes ago which hinges on you being from the 60s and not knowing about something in the fucking future. Just decide what the bit is.
I suggest you don't worry about this sort of thing.
I can't not worry about it. It's my job.
We literally have to. You paid us to do this. It's your fault that we're up here doing this. You fuckers.
You did this to me. Thank you for one thing.
Austin and Felicity infiltrate the island. We get the second of the 2 good jokes, which is that she walks out of the sea in the Ursula Anders white bikini, very, very sexy. And then we cut to him and he's also wearing the same bikini. But they hang too much of a lampshade on it because he looks down and is like, "Oh," but they should have just not commented on it. He should have just been there.
I also think it's I think it's having your cake and eating it again. To be the Bond movies, they'll just do an exploitative bikini shot like this. And it's
isn't this
Would have been funny if she
exploitative?
hadn't been.
Yeah,
and
she's
he
just dressed
was, and she
normal.
was just wearing a normal swimsuit.
Him first. You go up the legs, and then it reveals that it's Austin, and then she's just wearing like a wetsuit or some shit, and it's
first song and dance number.
Song and dance number.
Ooh,
number
what
one.
a phrase!
We're yeah.
It's the implication that there's more.
Oh yeah. Next one's a musical.
Same set, even they don't even change.
Oh yeah. This is Dr. Evil and Mini-Me do What If God Was One of Us? And the joke here is Dr. Evil is doing modern music, well, modern at the time, and claiming he's invented it. Which is funny, apart from the fact that Vern Troyer is a better comic actor than Mike Myers is. And Mike Myers has to carry the scene, and he can't, because Vern Troyer's there doing physical comedy better than him. Also, it's one of 2 song and dance numbers in a spy comedy.
Because then they do a rap.
Yes, I have he raps and I have underlined raps.
Yeah, my notes are just Dr. Evil truly just be doing shit. And then it's just another fucking song.
Yeah.
It's funny because he's white and he occasionally says things like someone who isn't white.
Yeah, just the 2 of us. We will beat this joke into the ground on the 3rd one, believe me.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Oh, yes.
So
The scene starts and it's Dr. Evil at the piano and you hear the music start to come in and you go,
So Austin and Felicity do some reconnaissance. She's looking through binoculars, which are like looped around his neck. And she like pulls away, and he gets like choked by them into her tits, and immediately starts calling her mummy and talking about her spanking him. He just like me. For
Not
real.
for the first time in this film, I have been perceived.
You see, Miss Thorne, we're not so very different, you and I.
Yeah, she just like drags him by it and then slams his head into a pole. And I was like, yeah, Praxis, good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Should have been me.
When is it my turn to be happy?
Never.
Not
with
yet. We've got another one of
podcasters.
these fucking
Oh
films.
my god. Depends what happens at the after party. So there's, at this point, so at this point, we have to consider that the funniest possible thing is a silhouette and a bit of like silhouette comedy, because we're going to do about an hour and a half of this. The joke is they're in the tent. She's like looking for some shit in a bag, and it looks to the guards who are creeping up on them like she is fisting him. And it looks like Heather Graham is like elbow deep in his asshole. Again, when is it my turn to be happy? And
They pull it. There's a bit where they pull a gerbil out, and then the movie forgets like what a joke is. They just like, pull the gerbil out, and they're like, "How did this get in here?" And it hard cuts just Austin being like,
well, that's.
or like he looks like a bit nervous about it as well, and it's like this doesn't work.
I can
This
I can
doesn't make
explain this
sense.
to you. This
No, I
is-
understand the practice.
This is like
Dev,
my
Dev.
parents are fighting, and also I
It's a
might lose
South
my
Park
job.
bit.
Like,
It's just. Is everything okay at home?
It's all going swimmingly. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Great, thank you.
It's a South Park bit. I
is
remember.
this my
That's all.
fault?
Yes.
Look, we both still love you. No, this is a like. It's a topical.
You're going to have to split your time between Cardiff and Glasgow.
Yeah.
That's the worst part of the divorce.
The omnipolicule. But so no,
The omnipolicule.
the
Transformers movie, like best one ever.
It's like the Borg, but they're just all fucking.
you
have been assimilated into the omnipolicule.
sucking and fucking in there, because it's like
They
sucking
should've
your
been,
own
yeah.
dick, like you would if you could, especially if you were the Borg, and they have like a million dicks. They're all fucking and
Would
sucking
you
at
fuck
once.
your Gestalt consciousness double? There you
Yes.
go.
We are the Greater Washington, D.C. transgender polycule. We will add your distinctiveness to our own.
I've met those kinds of trans women. What distinctiveness? So,
I've also met them, and
I'm
I think
sorry.
they're great.
Did I offend you by guessing which defense contractor you worked for?
It's
So-
easy. You're just in Alice's mentions. So.
Yeah. So no, the reason why there's a gerbil and why he's embarrassed about this is because this was a homophobic slur that made the rounds about Richard Gere. The idea was
I'm
that like,
familiar.
yeah, Richard Gere.
I'm not.
Okay,
Oh,
Richard Gere. This was like a chain. It was a chain email misinformation thing that Richard Gere had been taken to the emergency room with a live gerbil up his arsehole.
It was like newspaper headline.
Yeah, it was like because he's secretly gay in the way that you would do like Lady Gaga's secretly trans now. It wasn't true. There was like no foundation
It's
to
not
it,
true.
but that was the story, and that's why it's in there, is to be a bit of a like a homophobic joke.
So why?
Mm-hmm.
So gay.
I suggest you don't worry about this sort of thing.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So
Because
yeah.
I know some gay people, and I don't really think we have a gerbil. I don't see that he's got a gerbil in his ass, therefore gay. I'm like,
No. Because
What?
I think
putting
the ass is
stuff
the
in your ass
operative part of
isn't even necessarily gay. It's
You're
just
right. It could be part of a
But they
loving
hadn't invented that
heterosexual
yet.
relationship.
well, what was the sex of the gerbil? Maybe that's the
female-bodied gerbil.
in a man's space.
Very much so.
This is a funnier joke about having something up your asshole than this entire scene manages. And they make so many attempts at it. So many. Also, by the way, these guards were meant to be he-him bots in the original script. And they took that out, which is, again, weak shit. Weak shit. Should have been male sex bots, but what can you do? And yeah, they do like a million more fisting jokes, and then they get captured. And that intercut with that is Dr. Evil rapping.
Yeah. Again, if you haven't watched this movie, don't. First of all, but like, it's in the movie.
Yeah.
He's what the fuck was the song he does?
It's just the two of us.
Jesus.
Brackets rap, brackets Dr. Evil, brackets.
Yeah, available on
Yeah,
Spotify.
it's literally. You could literally get
Well,
the
on
soundtrack to this on
iTunes, I
CD.
believe. Yeah,
like it was
could.
Dr. Evil mix. And I'm just imagining. I'm in my mind palace now, trying to imagine Dr. Evil mix of like any other song.
You can imagine 2 more tomorrow night.
I don't want to.
Although if
You don't
anybody
have
in
to.
here is a DJ, you have the opportunity to drop like the deepest cut possible during your next set. Just see if anyone turns around in the club like,
Is that fucking Doctor?
Yeah, getting into Berghain for the Dr. Evil night. You have to look very serious, wear a grey Nero jacket the whole time in the queue.
bald
you know?
owner.
Yeah.
So this is a scene where Austin and Felicity are captured, and Austin learns that she shagged Fat Bastard, and he's very jealous. And my notes say, I just want to note, there's no consideration of like Fat Bastard's feelings here, and he's
Quite
just
the
like
opposite.
quite possibly been like spy cops raped by
Yes.
an agent of the CIA, and like
Yes.
there's no at no point does he like, oh shit, like that's really fucking violating.
That's the magic of espionage, right? Is that's a scene that on the merits is two people both sexually assaulting each other. And the movie's sort of response to this is for Dr. Evil to go, oh man, check out this guy. He's fucking ugly though. Like,
I'm dead sexy. Look at my sexy body.
that's not the right drop. The right drop.
It's appropriate.
Yeah, where's my fucking drop, actually?
It's fucking.
This is
The thought of you naked is just gross.
The thought of you naked is just gross, and Fat Bastard looks genuinely hurt too, that is a cruel joke made by a Mike Myers character at a Mike Myers character.
yeah, like what the fuck kind of internalized shit is going on there?
I will say that the
He's on
last
some
line.
philosophy tube shit. He's making characters that are just his own insecurities. Just
I will say the last line of this movie is paging Dr. Freud, and it earns it. Believe me.
I got 2 notes about this. Number 1 is when Dr. Evil says "frick," I clap like a seal. I think it's
Frickin' lasers.
yeah.
Frickin' sharks
Ugh.
with frickin' laser beams.
Again, this is just quoted like so many times on the playground when I was a kid. Like it's a very quotable film.
Yeah, if you're 14 and a bully, like
yeah, which is what this was aimed at. They were like, "Here's some ammunition, boys.
yeah.
Go wild.
Give those
Enjoy
nerds
yourself."
what for, and eventually, a few years later, you get a podcast out of it.
I mean, Austin's so hurt by this, and I'm like, you did exactly this, like canonically, 3 days ago to your wife.
Yeah.
Do you remember your wife, Austin?
She's dead. Austin Powers, widower of mystery.
But yeah, it's like an inversion of the same structure. It rhymes, and that's a very advanced filmmaking structure for a movie that's mostly about turds.
At this point, Mini-Me draws a picture of Scott dead and like slides it across the table to Scott. Don't worry about that. That's not funny. What is funny is that the note paper it's drawn on has "From the desk of Dr. Evil" monogrammed at the top. It's in a very quick like blink and email. I'm like, that's a nice little detail. Well done.
Yeah. Any of the sort of like Dr. Evil office stuff is reluctantly it's funny, I'm afraid. But-
Dr. Evil goes to the moon in a rocket.
Yeah,
that
and at
looks
this point,
like a dick and balls.
before I saw the rocket, I wrote down, the rocket's going to look like a dick and balls, isn't it? And it does. It looks like a dick and balls.
We get one of the only. So this film invents a new joke for the franchise. It's invented one new joke, not just repeating the old ones, which is that people keep looking at the rocket and going, "That looks like an enormous." And then we cut to another
Dick.
scene.
Yeah.
Someone's like, "Dick, come and take a look at this." It's like, "What do you think of it?" Like, and then Johnson. Like, we keep having like synonyms for penis, and it goes on slightly too long. My notes say series of dick jokes that are almost funny.
Yeah, it tries to do the thing where you tell a joke, a bunch of times and it stops being funny and starts being funny again, except it just stops being funny. And I think at this point I figured out that, like, okay, obviously we know the movie's for teenage boys, right? And I think we're proving here that despite everyone's opinions at the time, including mine, I was never a teenage boy because I never liked this shit. It's also for unusually stupid teenage boys. This is for the remedial teenage boy because they do not trust you with a punchline. They simply don't. They They will like give you the dick joke 5 times, and the last one will be racist. Like the last one is
Just when you're getting bored of it, they like swing one in. You're like, oh fuck, Jesus.
yeah, for the racist guy in the back who's like, yeah.
So they're imprisoned above a pit of lava, and Austin's still jealous because Felicity shagged Fat Bastard. She apologizes, and like, well, she also quite rightly points out that he would and has done the same thing. She's like, I'm a spy. Like, this is what I do. I do unethical sexual things. I work for the government. Like, what do you expect? Like,
sorry, hold on.
I'm English.
but
I didn't have the Brosnan. I work for the British government, but
yeah, they apologize. She distracts the guards with her breasts because
yes, and he sees her tits and immediately goes, "Mummy." He just like.
Yeah, and then walks straight towards just into the lava. I don't know. I found that
Just
to be
like,
okay.
yeah, just like willing to die instantly upon seeing tits.
And you know what? Here's some credit to the movie. It doesn't show me that guy's fucking family or anything. Thank
Oh
Christ.
my God, you're right.
it's true.
God, it
literally
didn't.
It
'cause
must
that-
have been cut from the script. But,
Yeah,
was it
it's like
edited
90
out?
minutes, baby. They couldn't have cut a fucking word of that.
They learned how to abandon a joke that didn't work. And you know what we call that? We call that growth.
It worked. What?
One time. So they then do a joke from the past movie again.
Yeah.
Which is Austin sees a guy who he's just horribly killed, and he does like way too many one-liners about it until his girlfriend is like, "Stop." That's
I remember this from the first movie.
Yeah.
I remember when they
I
did
do.
that.
I do like it when they get to the moon base because it's a very cool set.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm noticing the set in a comedy, it's probably not. A good
Yeah.
set.
Looking at the frame, trying to see anything
it's-
other than what's happening.
it's
Like,
like-
oh, that's a nice plant.
it's like saying
If
it's
you
like
were all
saying
sitting
of
here
a,
being like, "Oh, Matty really did a good job on that art. It's really
it's
like
like
this table. Where did you get that table from?"
it's like saying of a hookup, "Oh, their ceiling was really well plastered." So
Just a nice design language in this room. I'm having that. Visually, very cohesive. I don't know.
yeah, so they go to the moon. They hitch a ride with Apollo 13, 11, whichever
11,
one
I
doesn't
think,
fuck
yeah.
up. Apollo 13, that's a very different movie. If they're like,
better movie again.
we're trapped in space, we might die. Austin Powers is here.
This is the one thing we didn't want to happen.
We're like the oxygen could run out at any time and just floating past behind you.
Do I make you horny, man?
It's like, no, fuck,
Like, no, the situation is so dire.
Randy. Yeah, so they go to the moon and they think.
I love doing this fucking because I get to hear you saying in like the most upset and bored voice. How did I go to the moon?
They go to the I mean that is
Not even
how,
the first time you've said it, like in the history
No,
of this podcast.
That's,
Well, they're
I said it
referencing
about
the first
Bond,
fucking time.
I say it about the actual space program all the time.
Oh, don't worry, they won't do it again.
There isn't shit up there. Leave it alone. Go to fucking, I don't know, Mars or some shit and fuck around and find out there's nothing up there either.
Don't go
until
anywhere.
Until we've like eliminated all the planets as possible loci of anything interesting. We realize we're all just down here with the boomers and the boiling seawater.
No, I've said this a million times. The second space flight is shown to be viable, they're all going to start mining comets or some shit, and then capitalism just expands to a new frontier, space. And just set off Kessler syndrome. Let's just close the fucking sky for a couple generations. Sort some shit out.
And I mean, the other thing is,
I'll do it now. I will do it. If you gave me a button, genuinely, if it was just like close the sky, I'd be like, yep. It wouldn't even be a second.
If we don't set off the Kessler syndrome, the future is we are going to be living in our golden penthouses, getting ads from people that's like, "Hey, I really like your podcast. It really gets me through my shift in the hell mines."
You want to terraform?
God.
You want to make fucking Mars livable? We can't make Earth livable. How the fuck? We've got such a fucking head start on this planet being livable. We're gonna try with fucking
Never mind
Mars.
Earth. We can't even make England livable.
England at least has a magnetosphere.
For now.
But yeah,
I'm sure they'll
if
find
you
a way to
gave me a
sell it
button
off.
to get rid of England's magnetosphere, I'd get rid of it. Fucking.
Magnetosphere's woke. Getting rid of it.
The first
woke,
British
he won't do
astronaut
it.
has returned from space and declares it woke.
I agree with Shatner, and I
Douglas
didn't even need to go
Adams
up.
You know,
That's fucking
do you
woke
remember
up
that bit
there,
in, do you remember that in the fourth fucking Hitchhiker's Guidebook where there's that planet that's like surrounded by a thick cloud, and then they think they're the only planet in the universe.
Sorry. Can you just say? Do you remember in the fourth?
In the fourth Douglas Adams fucking
They
Hitchhiker
did
book.
so much.
alert!
Thank you. But there's that planet where they think they're the only planet in the universe, and then they found out that they're not, and they conspire to destroy all of the rest of the universe.
Yeah,
That's
correct.
Britain.
Me. Alice bounced right off of a restaurant at the end of a universe. It's like, this is too much for me.
No.
But the Fenchurch romance was so good, anyway.
I think it's
Right,
fine.
let me
I
just
like
be clear.
The Hitchhiker's Guide.
We have fucked ourselves with the Voyager probe, right? Because the Voyager probe, we sent into space a big golden plaque of a naked man and woman being like, hey, how's it going? First of all,
They knew what a woman was back then as well. That's the thing.
First of all,
I'd have sent the same thing, but with the genitals swapped.
yeah. But first of all, now they know what we look like naked, which is fucked. Second of all,
Get a like unsolicited
We
nude
sent
from
nudes.
Earth. You're a fucking alien. You're like, oh shit, what's this? Ugh.
The first thing aliens are going to know about us is that we do not respect consent.
The thought of you naked is just gross.
but the other thing is, right, we have fucked ourselves. We should have, instead of a man and a woman naked, it should have been one dude 200 feet tall standing on a pile of alien skulls. Engraved around the outside, our entire planet is a bomb. We will fuck and then kill each and every single one of you.
That is a threat and a promise. Should have done all the same shit, but it just like pointed to Mars instead. Like all of it was identical, just went all the way to Mars. They get there and they're like, oh fuck.
Mars gets
We're too late.
cancelled and we're like, oh fuck. Oh shit. Dodged a bullet there.
But also now we've taught the aliens to be transphobic.
I'm English. It's the first thing we did. We were like, first, we need to make sure these motherfuckers.
Oh god.
Anyway, that was the Voyager Golden Record bit in the live show of the second Austin Powers movie. It's like noticing the ceiling at the hook. We're just all right.
Let's do some bits about the Voyager Golden Record to fill time. But so they get to the moon base. They think they see Dr. Evil. Austin tries to shoot him, but it's Mini-Me. And this precipitates a fight scene with Mini-Me that maybe counts as a hate crime.
Yeah.
And the thing is, right, this is, for the most part, it's Austin beating the shit out of a Vern Troyer dummy and Vern Troyer, like, kicking the shit out of Mike Myers, which I do support. And the joke here is that the whole time Austin keeps, like, condescending him. Like, even after he kills him, which he does by, like, xenomorphing him out of the fucking airlock, which is itself a funny joke. He's like, oh, he's so small. He's like a dog or something. He's like, you fucker. But there is one point at which this works, which is he attempts to, like, sympathize with Mini-Me, and Mini-Me tries to bite his cock off. And I consider that to be an example of a reverse exploit disability. Exploit ableism. Utilize disability, that's right. So Mini-Me gets shot out into the cold vacuum of space, where he's going to get picked up by the aliens who are coming to fucking kill all of us. Because of the Voyager plaque, I know.
Yeah. So Austin goes to the moon base. Fuck me. And then he's gonna. Are you gonna save the world? Or are you gonna save Felicity?
Yeah, she's just gotten
I'm
captured off screen.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. I'm going to go back. We're sending a second Voyager of the same plaque that just says, like, I'm sorry, mate. Like, that wasn't my phone. Someone took my phone off me. Like, 10 minutes later, like, oh, God, bitch.
Showed you my golden record. Please respond. Sending them like updated ones, but like the two people on it have transitioned. So like, hey, we got some news. Congratulations.
We got more laughs out of the Voyager probe, a thing which was not intended to be a comedy, than Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
That's why we get the big bucks.
That's right.
So Austin deflects the space laser, but Felicity is gassed to death in a chamber. Dr. Evil escapes.
Again, sort of like average first date for me, normal stuff.
They just do that.
Don't worry.
First day for me, I get captured off screen, and then I get killed with the fucking, like, sissy hypno gas.
So were you really attached to the well-drawn character of Felicity Shagwell? Was that your favorite character in the film? She was mine. So Austin.
I have come to embrace the love that dare not speak its name.
So Austin runs after Dr. Evil and confronts him, and then he does "I Am Your Father" because Star Wars.
Yes, because it came out that year. I think episode 2. And this is making fun of the same, like, what kind of weak shit would it be to do an I am your father joke? Do not watch the next movie.
Yeah. So Dr. Evil's like, why don't you just use the time portal and go back and save your girlfriend? And I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Runs away, and Dr. Evil's like, I'm getting away now. Brilliant.
It's cool.
Great. Cool.
Rescues Felicity. The base self-destructs. She's
Rescues her by going back in time by 10 minutes. So there's now 2 Austin, but 4 Mike Myers now.
2 Austin's power.
Fucking hell, yeah.
Yeah. And at this point, she wants to go with him to the future, to 1999. And he...
But first we need to resolve what happened to his mojo. It's in a vial.
Oh, shit,
Dr.
you're
Evil
right.
throws it
Yeah.
up. The 2 Austins run, they collide, it smashes on the floor. She's like, don't worry, the mojo was inside you all along. And it's like, great.
Just
waste
like,
of time.
me up to the arm earlier. And...
Mojo available in the lobby, by the way.
Yeah.
We set it up. It's like cranberry vodka, but you can order a Mojo at the bar later.
Really?
We thought it'd be funny. I don't know. Yeah, we did. I did set that up.
Rules, that's so good!
It wasn't even my idea. It was the manager of the
We've
space.
just made
It's so
problems for
funny.
the bartender.
Oh,
That's
my
cool.
content creator brain loves that.
I know.
That's
She
so
suggested,
good.
and I was like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Groovy, baby. So
Dolly.
So at this
Phenomenal.
point, she's like, take me with you to the future. What's the future like? And he's like, don't worry about it. Right? Because how are you going to explain any of the things? Like, most notably, like sexual liberation. She wants to fuck. She really wants to fuck. He's going to have a conversation with her about HIV. And imagine getting your sex education from Austin Powers.
Yeah.
But so
Groovy pill called PrEP.
True Vader, baby.
No, we
yeah.
have freedom and responsibility. It's a groovy combination. But it does make you shit. That was a good way to detect all the people in the audience who were on PrEP.
The lights come on immediately.
Make a joke about the PrEP side effects and just all the people are like laughing. I'm like,
But so the line he gives her is,
The 70s and the 80s, you're not missing anything.
now, the next movie is set in the 70s. And they started working on that movie pretty much as they were writing this one. So that's about
That's
the level we're
confidence.
going to be pitched at. Is
Being like producing Austin Powers to display a Shagged movie, like, yeah, banger, perfect. Let's write a sequel now. Let's fucking do it. They're gonna commission it.
yeah, and she says, I know the 90s are boring. And again, I hear the 9/11 sound effect in my head of like,
It's the end of history, baby.
it's the end of history.
oh, like late 90s, good time. Like,
Yeah,
9/11 hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, and then what happened after that is 9/11. Famously, the thing that happened after there being no 9/11 was 9/11. In many ways,
The whole of human history is like number of 9/11s. None. One.
in many ways, the number of 9/11s culminated in 9/11. We hope.
And yeah, now a 9/11's worth of people die of COVID every week in the US. Well, whatever. We're done. 9/11. It's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Whatever.
What are you going to do, 9/11-2? Ridiculous. You couldn't
You
brand
can't
it that
do
way.
9/11. Imagine, how do you...
An
how do you
1822?
step
That's not going to
up
happen.
from 9/11.
9/12. You just do a 9/12. Same thing, day later.
Shit, yeah, that would have been, yeah.
God, that would be... They would never expect it coming.
Yeah, you get them from like worrying on like every 9/11 to like incremental days. Like 5 years later, you're at like, oh fuck, what are they gonna do about fucking 9/16?
Seinfeld's already dead. He died in the first one.
Robert Pattinson as well.
So we go to 1999, and Felicity's like, I love you, Austin. And he's like, yeah, whatever. But
Credits roll. They do half the ending in the credits, and this really is an MCU movie, start to finish. It's like a mid-credits and then a post-credits scene where they finished the movie.
Wait, really?
Yeah. The credits have already rolled at this point. Everything is after the credits now.
I feel like I watched it. I don't... Sure, you know what?
Did you watch the same version? Because Fat Bastard comes back.
Oh, you're right. That happens, and then the credits, and then more scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, I stopped it. Oh, I just
Sorry,
rewatched this and stopped the second the credits showed up.
Oh, no. I will get that.
It was like I was in the theater watching like Everything Everywhere All at Once, and the second it said the end, I went, Missed the rest of the movie.
First, we have to do the bit where the henchman we forgot about comes back.
Yeah.
Sadly, we had not forgotten about him. He plagues us still.
The Kleb situation,
Yeah,
right?
and
Which
so
is
Fat Bastard comes back and he's there to kill them. And
Have it
then
again, baby.
we do some like try to psychology
fuck
thing.
me running.
Fuck
yeah.
me to
Yeah.
pieces.
What they do is she goes, "Oh, are you happy?" And he breaks down. He's like, "No."
I can't stop eating. I eat because I'm unhappy.
And I'm unhappy because I eat. And it's
He
like,
also says, "Of course I'm not. Look at me." And it's
yes.
like,
It starts. They go
type
like
of shit I be saying about myself.
because they start. They're like, "Are you happy?" And he goes, "Of course I am. I'm dead sexy." You know, and I would have
That's
just
funny.
stopped it there. It's like,
That's
yeah,
funny, yeah.
It's it's just this is a plus-sized man who loves his body.
yeah.
The funniest thing in the world to a hack cunt is just like someone embracing themselves, and they're like, "No, we have to beat this cunt down.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to." This man's character arc is he starts out being confident in himself, and then he ends the movie not being confident in himself anymore.
Like the
Yeah.
movie.
It's like, cool, thank you.
But like, so he says, "Fuck you, I'm going to kill you anyway." And then
Good.
she kicks him in the balls and calls him fatty.
Yeah.
And my notes say, "Why did so many 90s children develop eating disorders? We'll never know."
And
First of all, your bullies were wrong.
yeah, and it's like the way they get out of the like faux profound thing is a fart joke too, and it's just like you didn't have the confidence to hold that shit for even like a minute to be like, oh, this is it's a sad man. No, don't even have time to carry that off, and it's just bullying. It's just mean.
Gross out humor at best is the last redoubt of the creatively bankrupt, like comedically inept. And gross out humor at the expense of an entire group of real people at best should get you shot. At worst should get you taken
Elvis
out back with
Costello.
Elvis Costello. Yeah, that's the one.
Elvis Costello stalking towards Mike Myers with the gun from God, is it There Will Be Blood? No, it isn't. Anton Chigurh's thing in
It's no country for old men, by the way.
Thank you. No Country for Old Men.
It's good to have the resource, though, right? Like,
That's true.
So they have a
Killed
dance
this man.
party, and then sadly, Devon, there are in fact more scenes.
Yeah, afraid
Oh,
so.
what happened to them? Because I just wrote Carrie Fisher voice, we're done, and then just like stop.
We're not.
No, we're not, because there's a scene. There's mid-credit scenes. One of which is Mini-Me and Dr. Evil survive, and we do the dick joke synonyms again. Woody Harrelson's here now.
Yep.
He's in it for some reason.
Remember that guy? Time is a flat circle.
Yeah. And then we get to see Scott fucking serving, because Scott goes
true.
back on Jerry in like black lip, red fur. She's looking fantastic. She's there with her mum, Frau Farbissina, and they have like a bit of reconciliation.
Yeah.
And then there's another one. I'm so sorry, Devon. Which is a month later. Felicity is caught by Austin having sex with someone, and then she pulls up the covers, and it's his like time double. It's like past Austin.
Yeah, he gets cucked by himself, but he
Yeah.
responds Austinly by being like, "Oh, threesome with myself, fantastic."
Yeah, my notes say, "Please let it be done."
There's a bit I want to pull, which is that after they've beaten this plus-sized king down,
Yes.
okay, he did eat a baby one time, right? I'm a little hesitant to go fat bastard serving king because he did eat that baby, but and a donkey, it's fine, but. She presses a button in his thing, and like all of the things turn around, and like guys start coming out in 60s where like the cage
the
comes down from
instant
the
party
ceiling
button.
and someone's dancing. And I wrote, I love it when films do this. Like I'm the guy who's sexily dressed in the cage, just like waiting for it to get lowered from the ceiling. I'm in full
Sounds
like
pretty
Tom
good,
of
actually.
Finland get up. I got my little reading glasses on. I'm Dostoevsky. Then I hear the button press. I'm like, oh shit. That's my ideal job.
But yeah, so that's
Meet me after the shit.
the instant party button is fun, and again, like the first movie, you have to believe in the institution of movies just doing dance sequences, even though all of these ones suck. You have to like have trust that like they can be good, even though none of these are. And then, blessedly, Carrie Fisher appears on screen as a Force ghost and tells us, "Go home."
That was a joke from the first night. If you weren't here.
But we have a science-based system on this podcast.
We do.
A lot of fans of Scum, little Scum chant going there. That's good. All right.
Can we?
I don't know if I want it. I don't know if I love getting scum chanted at me.
Oh, is this the first time for you, or?
Of course not.
I mean, after all, oh God, where is it?
I'm English.
So,
Smom, how pleased is this film? Do I even need to finish the question?
1 million. I don't know. I feel like it's worse than the first one, and the first one we gave an 8 to, so...
But it's not as confident in itself, as we pointed out.
That's true. That's true. It's a small bean who has anxiety.
Yeah. Oh, the worst kind of mom. Pathetic.
I mean, that's
mom.
kind of having it both ways. I don't know, like a 7, 6?
I was going to go 6. I don't think it's as pleased with itself. And I think it gets like less pleased with itself as the series goes on. The next one tries to actually be quite serious at points. So it's like, this is even worse. Stop it. Just stop it now.
That's true, isn't it? Yeah, all right. Well,
right, 6.
6. Perfect.
Cultural insensitivity.
First Minister, please send Eurofighters from RAF Lucas. Bomb Canada now. Like it's got a bunch of like just throwaway racist jokes. Like it's got a joke about Chinese people's names in the dick thing. Like it just fully like throws them at you unexpectedly. There are quite a few of them. Brownface Will Ferrell.
Yeah, let's not forget Brownface.
I don't think Mike Myers wears brownface this time.
Don't
You see how
think
my
so.
standards have changed.
Yeah.
It's like I can change him.
We've been institutionally captured by big brown face.
I feel like let's put the stuff about Fat Bastard and the stuff about Mini-Me in with this as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
In which case,
20.
20. Flat 20. It's got to make up for the unprovoked violence.
I think like... I mean, I'm happy to go to like
I could
9.
go like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
I think it's like one of the most like sensitive. It's a broad range as well. Like just targeting so many people. I mean, thank God trans people had not yet been invented by
Yeah, thank Christ.
had not yet been invented by Russia to destabilize Britain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd be in it too. Like
Oh, you know our asses would be on that shit. Okay, yeah.
9.
9. Cool.
Unprovoked violence. This one, I mean...
The one with the human shield lady is kind of a
Yes.
bit like, ooh.
It's a bit much. It's low for sort of like our standards in general, but like of the franchise, it's got to be the highest. I want to say this is like a 4.
4? Is that the quorum?
I believe we are quarate, yes.
Okay, cool. 4 it is.
How did quarate get a laugh? You people all laugh at fucking anything.
They're just like words that begin with Q, because you had quintessence earlier on.
Quintessence. Quarate, quintessence, quantum.
Quantum?
Quantum. Your buzz. Oh, God, I miss him.
I don't.
Right, misogyny.
Is it as bad as the last one?
Well, it's given women more sexual agency in a way that men are scared of, which is...
Yeah.
I will make the argument both in this movie and in broader feminist terms that this was an incremental improvement. The sort of ladette thing did allow for some agency, even as it was broadly exploitative. That's my contention.
The movie's a little almost like misophobia. And also, I suppose in a way, it's nice that her having sexual agency isn't like seen as a problem that has to be fixed over the course of the film. She doesn't like become a housewife at the end.
No, she's I mean, it's still misogynistic, but I feel like it's misogynistic in a way that has sort of adapted to the lad culture of the very early 2000s or the very late 90s, in a way that neither the first one or the third one are. So I don't know. I want to give it like a 5 or a 6.
6?
Okay.
Let's go 6. That gives us a total score of 25, which is one more than last night, but still not the worst film we've ever seen.
Incredible.
28 is still the score to beat, which Live and Let Die and Atomic Blonde are tied for.
Do you want to look at my gold member drops at this point? Because I got
dear.
many of them.
I think.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is not funny.
That's going to get a lot of use. That's going to be tomorrow nights. But that has been, at long last, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, Elvis Costello, take us home. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you to Streatham Space Project for the venue and the service. It's been incredible. We have been Kill James Bond. And for those of you who are returning tomorrow, we will see you next time. For those of you who aren't, good night.